Welcome back to our channel. Today we wanted to talk about 5 hardships raising a child with spina bifida. So we have our notes of of the things that we thought of. So if we kind of look to that, then that's why. You want to start first?
I'm going to start out with going out and doing stuff around like his toilet time. So this is probably the biggest time consumer that we have with Jackson's everyday needs is his toilet time.
His toilet training is very different than Levi's toilet training is and has been. So,
and I don't know if this is the case with every child with spina bifida or not, but the nerves affect Jackson's bowels, and so he can't...
It's called neurogenic bowels.
Yeah.
And then also neurogenic bladder.
Yeah. And so he...
expel his poop properly. I don't know how else to say that.
We're just gonna get to down to the nitty gritty stuff. First up.
So yeah, he can't expel his poop properly.
He can tell when he poops.
He can tell. He'll tell us if he poops, like if it's not normal.
But he cannot control himself. Now there are ways to help it, but this is just a lot of what happens with spina bifida kids and adults. They have to have extra help with releasing themselves.
And so for Jackson, we have to do catheters. The challenge with it is that it is very time consuming. It takes at least 5 minutes to do a catheter to make sure that
from start to finish,
because you have to kind of get everything all set up, and you have to be clean and sanitary, because if you don't, then they get bladder infection. But it takes time to get it all set up and then get the catheter and do it and make sure that he gets everything out, and then after he gets everything out, you have to clean up everything up, and that's a challenge that we have to deal with. But it's not terrible, but it just is more time consuming.
It is.
For Jackson, we have to do an enema.
Yeah, we do an enema
every day to help him flush his intestines, and that's hard. That's
hard because he has to be on the toilet for a really long time.
About an hour. We figured for Jackson he has to be about an hour and 15 minutes if we cut it. And traveling, we have to say, okay,
we have to switch things around for that.
What's our plan? Where are we going to be? How long are we going to be there? And make those changes so that we make sure that he gets on the toilet, and we kind of have to plan out, okay, we're going to be stopping about this time, so we'll do his catheter then. And that means we're going to keep going. We got to, stop again about this time to do his catheter again and have him sit on the toilet. And it can't be just a public toilet, because you can't sit in a public toilet for
an hour.
And so you have to really be plan that out, and it takes a lot of time planning. And
but that's our normal now. Our normal is planning around Jackson and his needs. And when you have kids anyways, you have to do that. Plan around their needs as well. His just have extra needs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you done with that?
I'm done with that.
All right. The next hardship. One of the first hardships for me was seeing Jackson when he started. It was probably between 6 months and a year was the first time I noticed it. Is when he would see other kids especially around his age, get up and walk around and run around, and just the longing in his face just broke my heart. He didn't have to say it, but I could feel it, and I could see it in his eyes, like, why can't I do this? Why can't I get up and go walk around? Why can't I get up and run around and do what they're doing? And that was the first hardship, like true hardship that came with the Spina Bifida, besides the normal, other things that we had already dealt with, like surgeries and stuff. That was like the first, like, lifelong hardship that I dealt with.
Especially because Jackson, he is very social. He wants to be where everybody else is at, especially kids his age. And to have him not be the center of attention was hard on him.
But just seeing that longing look of, and like I said, he didn't have to say it. I could see it, and I felt it in my soul. I just knew that's what was going on in his mind.
I guess this kind of goes along with it, but it's another hardship that we wrote down here is because we didn't want him to feel like he was missing out on the group. If we were with family or with any other group things, and we didn't want him to be missing out of what all the kids were doing, we had to go spend all of our time with Jackson and
carry him around where the other kids went.
Yeah, wherever the kids went, we had to be there carrying them around, and we had to be there assisting and lifting them up on things and saying, no, you can't go do that because you can't do it. You can't ride on the swings like they are riding on the swings or whatever. And still, so that was hard.
And then it's hard on us because we don't get that adult interaction, because I don't want to say we were stuck, but we kind of were stuck in a way of having to just make sure Jackson was getting his needs met with playing with other kids.
Yeah, and so that was hard, not to be able to have, you'd get together with family, but you wouldn't see family. All you would see is all the little kids that were running and screaming and yelling for hours, and then you'd leave again. You feel like that wasn't even fulfilling. That wasn't even worth being with family. So that was a little bit hard to have to deal with that and find a balance of, okay, I'm gonna go be with family for a bit while you take care of Jackson, and then we're gonna swap and go and do, and so we had to do that and figure that out.
Yeah. The fourth hardship kind of goes along with the other two, is and this I really struggled with too. I've had to talk with even our families to be more aware of this happening. So especially when Jackson was first in his wheelchair or like crawling around and the kids just up and left, or like friends up and leave because they go play somewhere else thinking, oh, he's gonna follow and that's what's gonna happen, just like all my other cousins or all my other friends or whatever, because that's what you do. You get up, run around, and go to the next spot. But with Jackson, that wasn't, he wasn't able to, and he would cry because everyone left him.
He would be left sitting there out in the yard with nobody else around him. All the kids are gone and he's abandoned, and doesn't have anybody there to be with him.
So he would just cry because he felt like, what happened? Why am I left alone? And
what did I do wrong?
Yeah, like, why did they all leave? And so we've had to really talk a lot with with family and sometimes with friends to say, hey, make sure you make sure he comes along with you. Like, push him in his wheelchair or carry him if you're able to carry him.
Levi.
Or come get someone to help him get to the next spot. Because, we get busy doing our normal day-to-day things, and when it comes to a child who doesn't fit that norm, like, you don't think about their needs because you're just used to how it is. And so that was a really hardship for us.
Yeah, for sure.
To see Jackson go through and everything.
Yeah.
So. This is
The last hardship that we wrote down for this was that there's a lot of appointments.
Which Nels doesn't really have to attend. He's the one that works. I'm the one that does the majority of the doctor appointments.
And it's hard because I want to know what's going on and I want to hear all the different things. So, Sarah has the responsibility of going and taking care of Jackson. And generally it's several hours at least.
Depending on the appointment.
To go and do that. Sometimes it's down in Salt Lake, and so she has to go by herself down to Salt Lake, go to the doctors, get up early and take them to the appointments, be there all day, and then drive home. It's a lot of stress and it's a lot of work.
But the hardest thing is like the decision making that I have to do by myself, and so I don't want to think that I'm making the wrong decision. I would love to have Nels be there to be part of that decision making when it comes to certain things, but I usually don't have the opportunity or time to be able to call him and say, hey, this is what's going on, help me make this decision. But then there's other times where I do have enough time to call, and that's just with their primary doctor. Say, hey, what should we do? Should we do this? Or if we talk about it, something that's going on prior to the appointment, especially when I have to go down to Salt Lake, that's when we can really make the decision. Be like, hey, my husband and I talked about such and such a thing, and this is how we would like to go about it.
Yeah. So it's stressful. Sarah does an amazing job to go to the doctors and to get all of their instructions. And part of Sarah's good traits that she has is she is very exact on how she follows the doctor's instructions.
Well,
I'm not as exact.
I don't know. There's certain things that I will follow to a T, like his Ponseti.
Like everything that the doctor says.
Well, sometimes I don't agree with what the doctor says, and I'll do what my intuition tells me to do.
Yeah.
But that's very
rare.
I still try and follow it, but I still try and follow my intuition as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Because
true.
even though our children are adopted, the moment we became parents, even before then, like even when we were in the matched, I would have certain intuitions to do something, and I don't know how this happens. So obviously it's not a biological trait thing because you're carrying this child, but it's given to anyone. I feel like that becomes a parent in any form. You're given this intuition of what's best for your child.
So yeah. Anyway. Sarah does really well with following the doctor's instructions, making sure that they're correct and that they're accurate, and good at bringing those instructions back, relaying them to me that I haven't been into the appointment. And there's a lot of times that Sarah goes to the doctor and gets grilled by the doctor of what you've been doing and how's everything going and everything, and then she gets back from the appointment, and then she gets grilled from me of what did the doctor say and how do we need to do this and why do we have to do it that way and did you ask all these questions, and it's hard.
It is hard because I'm
she plays the
the
middleman.
middleman, and it's hard to be the middleman, and it's hard to get grilled from both sides, and it's like, don't you trust me? Like, I know what I'm doing.
So anyways, so Sarah does a great job to be able to handle that and do all that. So it is a challenge, but